Hi everybody, I'm standing at the northeast corner of what used to be the property of James Gorey, who owned this land at Malmsbury from 1855 to 1876 when he sold it to the Ward family. I'm at the end of Ward's Lane, which is no longer a public road, or if it is, it's been fenced off to the public. That sign through there marks the end of the road, and just the other side of that is the Campaspe River. I've met the current landowner and she said they had approval from Vic Roads to close off this laneway, but I'm thinking that in the 1850s and 60s there would have been a lot of traffic through here because there was a wooden bridge across the river that sadly was dismantled about 10 years ago. I'm now walking down what was Ward's Lane, which, as I say, was a public road and probably still is officially. It's pretty barren country now, although it's been a very dry period in Victoria, one of the driest on record for April and May throughout this part of the state. You can see that the road here was actually sealed, at least for a while. There's a type of culvert here. Some bluestone, so it was a properly made road at one point. Looking across to there, that is part of the former Gorey property, and that's a dam obviously. I'm not sure if it was built or made during the 1850s and 60s, but I'm guessing it was. And I even wonder if some of those old posts date back to that period. The current owner happily let me walk down from where the road is closed, close to the Calder Highway. James Gorey used to own 71 acres here between the Mount Alexander Road, as it was then called, and the Campaspe River. He, according to some records from the time, he had a hedge along the boundary fence. Not sure if you'd call that a hedge today or if it's bushes that are just growing out of control, some blackberries amongst them as well. But that's the boundary of the Gorey property. It would have been quite a change for James and his family, his wife Betty and their children, including my great-grandfather Edward, to move from where they'd been leasing a property at Bulleen on the Yarra River in eastern part of Melbourne. They arrived there in 1841 and moved here in 1855. The land that they were leasing in Bulleen was very fertile and they grew vegetables there, and they made their fortune, if you like, growing vegetables and selling them during the gold rush period when everyone else had rushed off to the diggings, but they stayed on their farm and made enough money to purchase this land here, which cost them about £1,200, which was an awful lot of money in the day. This morning I had a look through the Malmsbury Borough Council rate books, and for most of that period this land, you can see on the other side of that fence, 71 acres, was valued at £65, and they paid £3, 5 shillings and 11 pence in rates per annum on this land. I actually think it would have been a lot more fertile back in the 1850s and the 1860s, especially the areas closer to the river. I think there's been a lot of degradation through introduced species of weeds and pests in the intervening times. But there it is. That's the property of James Gorey, and this is what used to be Ward's Lane. Before I sign off, Gorey sold this to Ward, so I asked someone this morning why wasn't it called Gorey's Road or Gorey's Lane, and they said, well, in the very early days these laneways and roads weren't named at all. The names started to be introduced probably around the 1870s, and by that stage Mr. Ward owned this property and they have named it after him. Bye for now.